Have you ever changed your mind about something just because you imagined someone else judging you? You wanted to wear something. Then you thought, what will people think? You wanted to say no. Then you thought, they might get upset. You wanted to start something new. Then your brain suddenly became a full-time committee of imaginary critics. What if they laugh? What if they think I'm weird? What if they don't approve? And somehow, you end up living your life like you're constantly being watched. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You will never fully live for yourself if you're constantly trying to be liked by everyone else. Because the moment your happiness depends on other people's approval, they don't just get an opinion about your life. They get a remote control. And yes, I've done this too. I've replayed a completely normal conversation like it was a crime investigation. Why did I say that? Was my tone weird? Did they notice? Meanwhile, the other person probably forgot the conversation 5 minutes later, and I'm sitting there at 2 a.m. conducting a Netflix documentary about it. So today, let's talk about why we care so much about what other people think, why it quietly controls our decisions, and how to develop something surprisingly powerful: the courage to be disliked.
Imagine you're walking into a room. You notice your shirt, you adjust your hair, you check your phone camera, you wonder whether you look awkward. Then you walk in. And suddenly, you become hyper-aware of everything. How you're standing, how you're walking, where your hands are, whether you're talking too much, whether you're talking too little. You start thinking, everyone is looking at me. But here's the funny part. They're probably not. They're thinking about themselves. Their hair, their problems, their messages, their own awkwardness. Psychologists call part of this the spotlight effect. We tend to overestimate how much other people notice us. It's like your brain believes there's a giant spotlight following you around. But everyone else is carrying their own spotlight. You're not the main character in everyone else's movie. You're barely in the background. And honestly, that's good news. Because it means you have more freedom than you think. The next time you're worried that everyone is judging you, ask, if I saw someone else doing this, would I actually care? Usually, the answer is no. And if you wouldn't care about someone else doing it, there's a good chance they won't care about you doing it either.
The approval trap. But the problem goes deeper. Sometimes we don't just want people to like us, we need them to. That's different. You say yes when you want to say no, you laugh when the joke wasn't funny, you agree with opinions you don't even have. You apologize when someone else bumped into you. Someone says, "Can you do me a favor?" And your mouth says, "Sure," while your brain is screaming, "We have other plans." And what are those plans? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're going to sit on your bed and scroll for 40 minutes. But somehow, that's still a commitment. Why do we do this? Because approval feels safe. Humans are social creatures. Being accepted by the group historically mattered for survival. So your brain learns something simple. Being liked feels safe. Being rejected feels dangerous. The problem is, modern life turned that ancient survival system into a social notification system. One person leaves you on red, and your brain acts like you've been exiled from the tribe. You start wondering, did I do something? Are they angry? Should I text again? No, please don't send the third paragraph. They might just be eating. Instead of asking, will they approve? Ask, is this right for me? Not selfish, not rude, just honest. Because if every decision requires everyone else's approval, you aren't really making decisions. You're requesting permission.
The life you build for other people. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Sometimes other people's expectations don't just influence small decisions, they shape our entire lives. The degree we choose, the career we chase, the clothes we wear, the person we date, the amount of money we think we should make, the kind of house we want, even what we consider success. You might say, I want this, but underneath that, there's another question. Will people respect me if I have it? That's a dangerous question, because now you're not chasing happiness, you're chasing an image. You aren't asking, what kind of life do I actually want? You're asking, what kind of life will look impressive? And those two lives can be completely different. You might spend years trying to become someone your younger self would barely recognize, just because other people applauded the transformation. That's the trap. You can win the approval and still lose yourself.
take one decision you're currently making. Then ask, if nobody could see this choice, would I still want it? No Instagram, no parents, no friends, no classmates, no strangers, just you. Would you still choose it? That question can reveal a lot.
The courage to disappoint people. Now we get to the hardest part. Sometimes living for yourself means disappointing someone. And that's uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. You might set a boundary. Someone gets upset. You say no. Someone calls you selfish. You choose a different path. Someone says, that's not what I would do. And suddenly, you start questioning your entire existence. Maybe they're right. Maybe. Or maybe they simply wanted you to make the decision they preferred. That's an important distinction. Other people are allowed to have opinions about your life, but their opinion doesn't automatically become your responsibility. This is one of the most useful ideas from Adlerian psychology. Separate your tasks from other people's tasks. Your task is to make your decision honestly. Their task is deciding how they feel about it. Your task is to communicate respectfully. Their task is whether they approve. Your task is to live your life. Their task is what they think about it. You can't control both sides, and trying to will exhaust you. So here's the small action. The next time you say no, don't immediately explain yourself for 17 minutes. You can simply say, no, I can't do that. That's enough. You don't need to submit a 47-page legal defense.
But what if they don't like me? This is the question underneath everything. What if they don't like me? Well, some won't. And that's actually one of the most freeing things you can accept, because no matter how kind you are, someone will misunderstand you. Someone will dislike you. Someone will think you're too quiet. Someone will think you're too loud. Someone will think you're not ambitious enough. You could become the most universally pleasant human being on Earth, and someone would still complain about your breathing. You cannot win. And that's the point. If being liked by everyone is impossible, then chasing it is a game you can never finish. So stop playing. Not because people don't matter. They do. Relationships matter. Kindness matters. Listening matters. But there's a difference between caring about people and living for their approval. You can care without obeying. You can listen without surrendering. You can love someone and still choose differently.
The fear of being seen as selfish. This one catches a lot of people. You finally start prioritizing yourself, and immediately your brain whispers, am I becoming selfish? Not necessarily. Imagine you're on an airplane. The safety instructions tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first. Why? Because you can't help someone properly while you're unconscious. Life works similarly. If you're constantly exhausted from pleasing everyone, eventually you'll have nothing left to give. So taking care of yourself isn't automatically selfish. Sometimes it's maintenance. You need sleep. You need boundaries. You need time alone. You need to pursue things that matter to you. You need to say, this is important to me, without apologizing for existing. Give yourself 1 hour this week to do something that has no impressive outcome. Not something productive, not something you can post, not something that makes you look successful. Something you genuinely enjoy. Because your life doesn't have to be optimized every second. You're a human being, not a startup.
Stop trying to control other people's stories about you. Here's another exhausting habit. Trying to control how people perceive you. You explain yourself, then explain the explanation, then worry they misunderstood. So you send another message, then another. Then you reread everything. Then you think, maybe I should delete it. At this point, you're no longer communicating. You're directing a psychological hostage negotiation. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot control someone's interpretation of you. You can be honest, you can be kind, you can communicate clearly. After that, you have to let go. Someone may misunderstand you. Someone may judge you unfairly. Someone may create a version of you in their head that isn't even remotely accurate, and you may never get the chance to correct it. That's painful, but freedom often begins where control ends. Before trying to correct someone's opinion of you, ask, is this actually my responsibility? If you did something wrong, fix it. If you hurt someone, apologize. But if you're simply terrified that someone might think badly of you, you may not need to do anything. Sometimes you just need to let them think whatever they're going to think.
You don't need permission to become who you want to be. Maybe you've been waiting until you're confident, waiting until people understand, waiting until your friends support you, waiting until you're successful enough, waiting until nobody can laugh at you. But here's the problem. That day might never come. There will always be someone who doesn't understand, someone who doubts you, someone who thinks your idea is stupid, someone who asks, "Why are you doing that?" And sometimes the answer can simply be, "Because I want to." That's not childish. That's agency. You are allowed to build a life that makes sense to you, not everyone else. You don't need unanimous approval before taking the first step.
The strange thing that happens when you stop trying to be liked. Something interesting happens when you stop obsessing over approval. You become more confident. Not because you suddenly become fearless, but because you stop negotiating with fear every 5 minutes. You speak more honestly. You make decisions faster. You stop replaying every conversation. You stop checking whether everyone is happy with you. You become lighter. And ironically, people may respect you more. Because confidence isn't always loud. Sometimes confidence is simply, I know who I am, and I don't need you to constantly confirm it. That's powerful. And it doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming grounded.
Your life is yours. Think about how strange it would be to spend your entire life trying to make everyone else comfortable, only to realize at the end, you never asked yourself what you wanted. You spent years avoiding judgment, avoiding rejection, avoiding embarrassment, avoiding disappointment. And in the process, you also avoided experiences. You didn't start the thing. You didn't say what you felt. You didn't leave the situation. You didn't try. You didn't become the person you could have been because you were too busy protecting yourself from what other people might think. And maybe that's the real danger. Not being disliked, but being so afraid of being disliked that you never become yourself.
So live for yourself. Not in the sense of ignoring everyone, not in the sense of becoming selfish, not in the sense of saying, who cares what anyone thinks? People matter. Relationships matter. Kindness matters. But your life matters too. You can listen to advice without surrendering your decision. You can care about someone's feelings without making their feelings your responsibility. You can be kind without being a people pleaser. And you can be loved by many people while accepting that some people simply won't like you. That's okay. You don't need to be everyone's favorite person. You just need to stop abandoning yourself to become theirs. Because one day, you might look back at your life, and the question won't be, did everyone approve of me? It'll be, can I actually live? So wear the thing. Say no. Start the project. Leave the conversation. Tell the truth. Take the opportunity. Make the choice. And let someone misunderstand you. Let someone disagree. Let someone think you're weird. You're not here to win a popularity contest. You're here to live a life that actually feels like yours. And honestly, that's a pretty good reason to be disliked. If this video made you look at your own life a little differently, subscribe.
And stick around for more psychology stories about the strange little things our brains do, usually while we're trying to sleep at 3 a.m. Because sometimes understanding yourself is the first step toward finally becoming yourself.